Confidence, confidence, confident. I can be confident, confidence, confidence, confident. I can be confident at work.
Hello and welcome to the Confident at Work podcast. I'm your host and your confidence coach, Anna Manning. And today we're talking about what is fueling you at work. So many professionals are powering their success using a fuel which is secretly harming them. So we're going to talk about what that fuel is and what happens when you switch your fuel, when you switch your energy source. And I did not come up with this. I have heard somebody talk about it. I have tried to research online who first talked about this, and I can't find it. But I know that I didn't come up with it. So to whomever it was, thank you. We salute you. So here is the basic idea. There are two types of fuel powering you at work. One is what we're going to call fossil fuel, and the other is renewable energy. Now, fossil fuel is you being fueled, you being motivated by things like fear, doubt, unrealistic standards, focusing on the negatives. All of that generates fear, worry, anxiety, and all of that can work to get you off your ass and working and perfecting. All of that can motivate you, right? It's a type of fuel. The second type of fuel, type of motivator, is renewable energy, or I'm comparing to renewable energy. And that is a completely different way of motivating somebody. So you're going to use encouragement, you're going to use support, you're going to set them realistic standards, you're going to notice the things that they've done well, you're going to praise them for it, you're going to acknowledge them for it. I just want you to notice these two different types of fuel, fossil fuel and renewable energy. And guess what? Both types of fuel will power a light bulb. Your light bulb will switch on whether or not there is fossil fuel creating the electricity or there is wind or solar energy creating the electricity. Both work. Both will power the light bulb. But what we know now and why we are transitioning away from fossil fuel is that using that fuel creates damaging byproducts, pollution, destruction. And we also know that renewable clean energy sources work to power the light bulb, but they do not have those damaging byproducts. The energy is clean and it is sustainable. And I want you to think of this in terms of how you are motivating yourself at work, because you could have a different fuel source which is motivating you, which is giving you energy. And one fuel source might be akin to fossil fuel, and another fuel source might be akin to renewable energy. Because here's what happens when we motivate ourselves with fossil fuel. The byproduct is low confidence. It might power your career. It might have created success for you. It might have got you the promotion because it still works to power a light bulb. But the damaging byproduct, the pollution, if you like, will be damage to your confidence, will be a lower confidence cycle. So let's say it is fossil fuel right now, powering your success at work. You might be thinking things like, I will only do well if I really push myself. If no one's criticizing me, I'll be lazy. If I let up for a second, I'll fail. I need someone in my head criticizing me and doubting me. Otherwise, I'll be sloppy. I'll be a cowboy. All of these things my clients have told me. When they finally worked out that the thing that they're fueling themselves with is fossil fuel, they go on to tell me why it is strictly necessary to use that type of fuel, because that fuel is what's helping them. It is what is pushing them. It is what is ensuring that they don't slack off and become a total lazy bum. I haven't heard that phrase lazy bum since I was a kid. Anyway, I'm not cutting it, so we're keeping it. And think about this in terms of how you could manage somebody else. Might be easier for you to think of it this way. So I want you to think of the fossil fuel manager is brutal, harsh, critical, doubting. They set really high standards and you're going to know about it if you don't meet them. That may drive a team. That may drive a team to success because they're all afraid. They're all anxious as anything. So they're going to succeed and they're going to get things right. Yeah, that's one way of managing a team. You may want to manage your team that way. You may get some good results managing your team that way. However, we know that your team are more likely to be anxious, worried, burn out, and have really fragile confidence because they're walking on eggshells, because they're looking over their shoulder, because they're watching every move, because they know that they're going to be criticized, doubted, called out. The negatives are going to be pointed out. No one's really going to notice the good stuff that they do, but the fossil fuel manager is definitely going to notice the bad things. So I want you to notice for a second, if you think you might have been, or you might be right now, fueling yourself with this fossil fuel type of energy, punishing, fear, doubt, criticism, unrealistic standards. Is that currently what's driving you? And if it is, you may notice the success that you've had, but you may also notice that your confidence has been sacrificed to that process. The dirty byproduct of burning that fuel to give you energy and to motivate you at work is the same thing which has been driving down your confidence. And that's just what happens when you burn fossil fuel. It pollutes. And that's just what happens when that's the fuel which is motivating you. Criticism, doubt, demand. The byproduct is low confidence. The polluting of your internal environment creates low confidence, creates anxiety, creates burnout, creates worry, creates fretting, creates procrastination. But it doesn't have to be like that. And you might think that it does. And sometimes, my God, my clients fight me tooth and nail. And I let them have it. I need to be criticized in order to get off my ass. I need to be doubted to make sure I'm not sloppy. I need to be held to unrelenting and unrealistic standards. Otherwise, I'll do a bad job. But I don't know what they need and I don't know what you need. But I want you to know what you need. So I want you, if you're saying to me, do you know, Anna, I need to motivate myself like this. It's fossil fuels or nothing for me. It's unfortunate, but that's going to have to be the way it is. I want you to think about whether you think you need a fossil fuel boss in order to motivate you, in order to help create your success. Do you need someone doubting at you, shouting at you, setting you unrealistic, unrelenting standards, noticing everything you do wrong? Do you need someone like that to make sure you're not lazy, to keep you in line, to keep you delivering, to keep you doing good work? Is that the kind of boss you feel you need? At this point, I wonder if you're thinking what most of my clients are saying, which is actually, no. I don't think that I need or want a manager who's the equivalent of fossil fuel. And some people will even say, do you know what? I've had one of those and it was really bad. And if you haven't, I guess you can probably imagine what it would be like. Yes, you might create some success. Yes, you would probably produce some results. But that would be on the basis of fear, worry, anxiety. That would be the fuel which was generating those results. That would be the fuel that would be generating the quote unquote success. But thankfully, we have the option to switch to renewable energy. I want you to imagine for a minute switching and moving to an entirely different fuel source, one which gives you encouragement, one which trusts you, one which sets you realistic standard, one which has that mindset for learning rather than punishment, one that notices and points out the things you're doing well, one that acknowledges you, one which gives you praise and fair feedback. That kind of fuel source also works. It would also power a light bulb, as it would power you to produce results and to succeed at work. It's a totally different type of energy, but it's energy nonetheless. And what my clients find out, to their delight, is that when this is their fuel, when they switch to renewable energy source, they still feel ambitious. They still feel motivated. They still want to do a good job for their clients and for their team and for the people around them. They don't just become some lazy, indolent person who doesn't give a fuck. No, this renewable type of fuel still drives success. It just does it without the nasty byproduct of polluting and destroying your confidence in the process. And you know this in your heart, because you know that if you have a manager in the real world, a boss who encourages you, who trusts you, who supports you, who goes into bat for you, who sets you realistic standards, who notices if you've made a mistake and helps you to learn from it instead of naming and blaming and shaming, who notices the things that you do well, who praises you for the positives, who appreciates the way that you've showed up and the energy and the attention that you've given. You know it as well as I do. You will walk through walls for that boss. You will produce great results for that boss. You will be motivated with that boss, for that boss. You will be ambitious, because this is a fuel source. It's a different type of fuel source, but it's a fuel source. And it's driven by totally different feelings. It creates resilience. It creates strength. It creates trust. It creates that open mindset where you can try, and maybe you can even fail and you can go again. It creates confidence. So what's powering you at work right now? What is your fuel source? Does it feel like that fossil fuel? Harsh talk, impossible standards, worry of not being good enough, fear of failure. Is that what's driving you? And if it is, what's it costing you? I'm guessing anxiety. I'm guessing the potential for burnout. I'm guessing doubt. And I'm guessing low confidence. And only because I've seen it a million times. But what if you could still succeed? You could still produce great results. You could still be ambitious with a totally different fuel source. The great news is you're not Shell. You do not have to wait until 2050 to switch over to 100% renewable energy. You could do it today. You could do it today. You could make a decision. You could release a statement. As of today, Anna Inc. confirms that we will be fueled solely by renewables. Companies get praised for doing that, don't they? For having 100% renewable energy sources. The one thing that they've forgotten is that there may be people, tens, hundreds, thousands of people within their organization using the equivalent of fossil fuels on themselves. So maybe it's time for you to switch to renewable energy, and maybe 2025 is the year where you do it. Believe me, when you do it, you have the opportunity to fuel yourself from a completely different source. A clean, renewable and sustainable energy source. One which is going to encourage you, motivate you, stretch you, challenge you, but hold you and support you too. Because who doesn't want that? So maybe you're going to go the whole hog and say, yes, Anna, it's 2025 and I commit to using renewable energy sources. If you want my help doing that, because the byproduct is confidence. There's two ways that you can work with me now. The first is to come and join me inside the Confident at Work membership. This is for women professionals that want to change to renewable energy sources in 2025, who want to feel and be more confident at work, through a radical transformation, through a commitment to renewable energy sources, through managing themselves in the way they want to be managed and the way they manage other people. With encouragement, with fairness, with support, with stretch, with challenge, and with acknowledgement. The second is to come and work with me privately. Come and work with me one-on-one, where we will sit down and we will assess the current energy source which you are using. And we will notice the impact of that. We will help you figure out what you need to change in order to feel more confident at work. And then I will walk with you by your side, step by step, until you get there. There are links in the show notes. Click the link, book a call, and let's chat. All right. I'll see you in next week's episode. Bye.
Confidence, confidence, confident. I can be confident. Confidence, confidence, confident. I can be confident at work.